Hatton. Firefighters on the Greek island of Rhodes are struggling to contain a wildfire that's prompted the evacuation of thousands of people. Locals and tourists alike have been evacuated from homes and hotels on the island. 3 hotels have reportedly burnt down and many others are in the danger zone. Private boats have joined the Coast Guard, picking people off from beaches on the east of the island. The fires have been burning for 5 days now. The country's deputy fire chief says the blazes in Rhodes are the most difficult Greece is facing. In travel, the budget airline Jet2 says it's cancelled all flights that were due to go to Rhodes today. The company will instead fly 5 planes there with no customers on board to bring back people to the UK. TUI Group says it's also cancelled flights to Rhodes until Tuesday night. And we can bring you some breaking news from Greece now. And AFP is reporting that a bridge under construction has collapsed in western Greece near the city of Patras. Rescuers say people are trapped underneath. This is a developing story, and it's not yet clear whether the collapse is connected to the hot weather in Greece. Of course, we'll bring you more on this as we get it. Well, our reporter Azadeh Moshiri is in Athens. I spoke to her a short time ago and I asked her what she's hearing from the Greek authorities in relation to the heat.
They've said that these fires have spread, that they are expecting to have to evacuate more people today. 3 villages in the east, including Lindos, which is a popular tourist destination, and they've said they think it might turn into 1,200 people that will be evacuated today. And the problem is they've said even though it can dissipate in the morning, these winds have made these fires very difficult to contain. They're spreading, and therefore with the temperatures that are rising, with these difficult weather conditions, it's going to present further problems for them. That's why they're not optimistic about the future. They believe that the situation could get worse, not only in Rhodes, but also the mainland, where they believe fires could reignite. Because remember, earlier this week, that's where the focus of these wildfires was. But they do believe that the situation is particularly difficult to contain in Rhodes, because this has been days that they've been trying to get a handle on the situation.
Azadeh, we've been hearing accounts from tourists who've basically been describing scenes of panic on Rhodes, images of fires spreading quickly down beaches, people having to go into the water to try to stay safe. Is there any concern that this could lead to a real injury or a loss of life?
So I spoke to a volunteer, Maria, who worked all throughout the night to help tourists, locals and firefighters. She did that on behalf of the Hellenic Red Cross. And she said that there were no casualties, that some may have been injured, but they would have been minor injuries as they were trying to help others, that in general people ended up safe. But the Hellenic Red Cross, she and other volunteers were providing first aid. They were providing psychological support as well, because they said that this was traumatic for some people. In fact, she said that when she thinks back to it, it was devastating. Everywhere she looked, fire everywhere. It felt like they were completely surrounded. And so, of course, there is a real harm there that's been caused in terms of not just physical risk, but also the trauma that these tourists experienced, and the locals in homes where they felt safe.
Azadeh, is Greece getting any regional help to battle these wildfires?
It is getting regional help. Throughout the week, even before this fire in Rhodes, European countries came in to help. Italy and France, for example, sent planes to help firefighters. Israel sent planes as well. There are many, hundreds of firefighters who have joined from countries like Slovakia. The firefighters from Slovakia, in fact, were the most involved in the fires in Rhodes. But there were also firefighters throughout the mainland from places like Poland, Bulgaria. The list goes on, and that's because they realize that Greece does battle wildfires every summer, but the fact is these wildfires are becoming so much more frequent, so much more severe, that Greece needs help.
Well, Andrea is a British tourist from Cheshire who's on holiday in Rhodes. I spoke to her about the situation she found herself in.
We were running down the beach. People had suitcases. We had towels wrapped around our head because there was ash falling on us. And then a boat arrived, which I think was from the authorities. and they were only taking women and children. A friend that I was with was having severe breathing difficulties and was in shock. So I was trying to get her on the boat for them to take her. And then I was a little bit tricky, and while they were dragging her up, I did actually crawl under her legs, which I did more for her than anything, because she actually needed me to be with her. So we were really lucky we got off the beach, but there were hundreds and literally thousands of people still on the beach, and everybody was screaming, they were fighting. It was like Armageddon, and they were in the sea. There was nowhere for them to go. And we could see that the fire was chasing us down. There was nobody there. There was no one telling us what to do. So this boat took us to Rhodes Beach. They left us at Rhodes Beach. There was no taxis. There was no phone signals. And again, I was very lucky that the guy at the apartments there knew somebody who worked at my hotel. They then sent somebody from their staff, our hotel, and the Greek people, I have to say, have been unbelievable. The British Embassy and the TUI and Jet2 have been appalling. The amount of families that...
So Andrea, no communication really in terms of what you should do or what the dangers might have been?
Nothing. No, we've not had one. We've had not one text. Nobody's answering phones. We've sent messenger messages. You can't get through to anybody. And there are coaches driving around and people are trying to scramble on them, banging on the coaches. Honestly, it was like the end of the world. It was horrific. We met one family who had to abandon. They had babies with them. They had to abandon all their luggage. They had no nappies. They had no food for the babies. Everything was abandoned when they got on the boat. So we actually got back to our hotel last night. We were very lucky. They sent staff in their own cars to pick us up. It was just myself and my friend. And then we were in bed, and at 1 a.m. they came banging on our doors, and I opened the curtains and we could see the fire coming over the hill basically at us. And they put us on a minibus. This was the hotel. By the way, this was not TUI. I'm travelled with a company called TUI, a British company. Mm-hmm. They still hadn't messaged us. All that they've sent is a generic message that says, follow government guidelines, but there are no government guidelines. So they put us on a minibus. We were driving around on the minibus, trying to go. There were schools, gymnasiums. They were all full of people, hundreds and hundreds of people with just water. There were bathrooms, but no toilet paper, no facilities, nothing at all. People were lay. I don't know if you've had any photographs of people just lay on the floor.
We can imagine. We have heard reports. I know, Andrea, you were talking about your friend having breathing difficulties. Can you describe what the conditions are like there? What's the air like, and what's the temperature like?
It's terrific. I too have had severe breathing difficulties. I have a lung condition. And it has been very, very scary. There's no visibility. It's very humid anyway. It's very, very hot. And there's no answers, because you're doing what you think is right for you, but nobody's giving you any advice and nobody's helping us.
Indeed. And so, Andrea, just very briefly, we're going to have to leave you in a moment, but just very briefly, what's your plan then? Are you're safe where you are for the moment, but what are you going to do?
I still can't get hold of the travel company. They're still flying people in from the UK. Our government needs to stop flights leaving the UK and any other country into Rhodes. No more flights should be coming in.
Okay.
We're in a hotel. We've been very, very lucky. We got the last hotel in Rhodes.